Hello, in this video we will discuss about the blood pressure in the different arteries and veins. So let's begin to understand from the heart. So here is the heart and contain a aortic arch, and this is the right atrium and right ventricle, and the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, which that is used for deoxygenated blood toward the brain, toward the heart. And while the right atrium and right ventricle is used for the oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart, and lungs to the heart for pumping out the blood, eject out the blood into the aorta, aortic arch and descending aorta for the transport of oxygen as well as nutrients throughout the body. The peripheral tissue will absorb the oxygen for the aerobic respiration, produce energy. So this is the endothelial, is the inner layer, innermost layer is the endothelial layer of the artery, and this is the elastic tissue, second one, and third one is the smooth muscle, which that is surrounded the elastic tissue, and the outermost layer is the fibrous collagen tissue. So let's begin to understand the elastic artery. This elastic artery is internal elastic layer as well as endothelial inside innermost layer, which that endothelial layer will be surrounded the endothelial layer through internal elastic layer, and that is known as the tunica intima, while the tunica media and tunica externa respectively. So the muscular artery, if we will discuss here, this is going to more descending and to muscular artery, which that's contained differently due to the tunica externa is same, but the tunica media also, and endothelium are present, and tunica intima. This tunica intima is contain less internal elastic layer. So the here is the muscular artery. Let's begin to understand the arteriole. Arteriole is the smaller one than muscular artery, and arteriole will be go into the capillary ultimately. So the network of the arteriole, which that contains smooth muscle cell, is known as media. Same, because smooth muscle cell are present in the tunica media, while the endothelium are present in inside and surrounded by the basement membrane through endothelium, and in this way the smooth muscle cells here. Let's begin to understand the capillary. This capillary is here, which that is the network of the blood vessel, which that is showing the capillary ultimately it is the thinner as much as diameter of one red blood cell. So the endothelial cell is here, which that is surrounded by the basement membrane, and in this way here you can see this is the cells are present in the capillary network, which that is used for the diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange for the aerobic respiration, and in this way the deoxygenated blood toward the heart through a venule to vein and vena cava. So the more blood pressure in bigger artery, that is why the thickness more as compared to the capillary, because the capillary has less blood pressure. Remember, not more but less. So let's begin to understand how to measure the blood pressure. So the blood pressure here is the person which that's contain artery. That is the systolic blood pressure, and diastolic blood pressure we can measure through the heartbeat. For example, the systolic blood pressure through sphygmomanometer, which that is used for the detection of blood pressure, or millimeter of mercury we can understand with. So the blood here is the pulse pressure we can understand. So in this way the cuff will be wrapping which contain of air, and in this way the artery will be constrict to relax to understand the blood pressure when the sound will be produced. So in this way let's begin to understand the circulation, and next we will understand the graph for the blood pressure in the different region of the artery. So this is the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava again, and this is the descending aorta and the aortic arch, And on the other hand, this is I am lining with the orange color highlight. This is the inner side is the systemic circulation, while the outer of the lining is the pulmonary circulation. So systemic circulation means that oxygenated blood toward the peripheral tissue for the systemic circulation to provide oxygen while get the carbon dioxide to become a carbamonohemoglobin, which that will be moved toward the vena cava to the heart. And ultimately in this way, you can understand in this way here is the systemic circulation, while the pulmonary circulation is the different. In this way, the deoxygenated blood to move toward the lungs through a pulmonary artery, while the pulmonary vein will be transmit the blood after the breathing, and oxygen will be oxygenated blood will be moved toward the heart with the left atrium. So in this way here you can see the left and right lung. This is the pulmonary circulation, and in this way the lungs will be receive the oxygen and move the pulmonary vein toward the heart for the pumping throughout the body as a systemic circulation. So this was the pulmonary and systemic circulation. So let's begin to understand the bigger picture of this tissue and capillary. So the pressure of here you can see the partial pressure of oxygen will be more in the capillary, while the partial pressure of the carbon dioxide will be less as compared to the vein. So in this way the peripheral tissue will be receive the oxygen due to the partial pressure and diffusion of oxygen into the peripheral tissue, while the carbon dioxide will be moved toward the capillary due to that less partial pressure in the capillary. So the pressure of blood flow decrease to perfusion pressure will be increased to easy exchange gases within the capillary. So the pressure will be decreased, blood pressure will be decreased, while the perfusion pressure will be increased. In this way the oxygen will be diffused easily into the cell. So the perfusion will be increased. It means the exchanges of gases. So let's draw here is the graph which that show the aorta, elastic arteries, muscular arteries, arterioles, capillaries, a vein and venule, and medium and large veins, and vena cava ultimately. So in this way here is you can see the vertical shows that the pulse pressure. This pulse pressure is 120 to 0 to 120 in the normal person with a different artery contain different systolic and diastolic pressure. So this is the systolic pressure, and systolic pressure is 120 in the heart, while the 80 millimeter of mercury in the diastolic pressure in the heart ultimately go into the elastic artery is same. That is why we can detect through our arm. So here is going to more and more increase, so the decrease of the blood pressure diastolic and systolic with the increase of the decrease of the surface area and decrease when going in toward the capillary. So thanks for watching. This was the blood pressure regulation in the different artery and vein. So thanks for watching. I hope you make sense about these things. Bye.